Season 3 of Stranger Things asks the question, how do we grow up after suffering trauma? Welcome to the Eldritch Collection. My name is Aaron Peterson, and I will be your curator. Also, spoilers. I came out of the season with the feeling that it was very different from the previous two. There was just something a bit off. At first I thought it was too lighthearted, too carefree, or that it cared too much about the nostalgia instead of the strange. But as I processed the ending and began to miss the characters, I started to see what the actual story of Season 3 was. How do we move on? How do we grow up? And how do we deal with not just stress, but with trauma? Yeah, there's also Russians and blood golems summoned by smoke monsters, but it's interesting. Overcoming eldritch horror and clandestine government actions isn't the central conflict of the story anymore. That was the conflict for Season 1 and 2. Now, that's just what they're good at. That's just what they do. Almost every character arc in this season has to deal with growth, and most of them have to deal with trauma. Steve is trying to find personal meaning as well as meaningful relationships. Elle is learning about friendship and how to stand up for herself. Mike, on the other hand, is learning respect and how to listen. In the middle of the season, Hopper just burst out, "Why can't we just move on? Would that be too much to ask?" But the character I want to focus on today is the one that I relate to the most, and that is Will Byers. In Season 1, Will was effectively kidnapped, and in Season 2, he was possessed, which I can only assume is a lot like abuse. His trauma was sustained and horrific, and this season we see him trying to come to terms with that the best way he can. This is seen in his heightened awareness and wisdom. When the power goes off in the theater, he instantly recognizes the familiar feeling and the possible threat. He's also able to realize that he and his friends are growing up, even if they don't, and even if he's devastated by that fact. The other boys got to come of age, with girlfriends and growing confidence. Will had to grow up instantly, just to survive. Because of that, we see him desperately try to hold on to his happiest memories before the attack, and to lose himself in the stories that he loves. If I'm being 100% honest with myself, that is why I'm here. That is why I started this channel. I have dealt with some trauma myself, and escaping into the stories I love is a large part of what I'm doing here. We see this backfire on Will in an extremely painful way during their last D&D game. However, after he runs out, we see his growing maturity as he realizes that things just can't go back to the way they were. It hit hard. I just want to play D&D too. By the end of the season, we see one of the strongest ways he's able to cope with trauma, and that is his friends. He steps up as the team's mind flayer sonar. He joins with the 3 other boys in a triumphant, friendly, loving hug at the end of the season, and as he drives off in his brother's car, we see the pain of that goodbye. His maturity, love of stories, and deep friendships is summed up in a single moment. Will puts his D&D books in the donate box and tells Mike that he would never join another party. It's a small but touching moment. It's what this season is all about. Growing up, saying goodbye, and confronting the horrors that this world can show us. We might not be fighting eldritch meat monsters or Russian spies, but we all have struggles we're dealing with. I hope that you can grow from yours, find comfort in great stories, and celebrate the friendships you have, even if that means saying goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.